Hello, welcome to Vlogmas 2025. Yes, I'm giving it a go. No, it's not called Labmas this year, we're just sticking with Vlogmas, and we are doing an advent calendar. So I had the idea to buy the sort of most rubbish looking advent calendar that I could find on Amazon and then make it better. So for every door we're going to remake what we find and hopefully improve on it. I did look at what the contents were because they show it in the description, and I'm not going to tell you because I want to keep it as a surprise for you guys, but it didn't look that exciting, or they looked a bit rubbish. However, I now have the box and it opens like that. Oh, 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 and falls apart instantly, so that's good. But we've got our two halves, and we do actually have 24 spaces, which is a lot, and I don't know if I'll get through all 24 days. We'll have to wait and see. What it does have is on the back it tells me everything that's inside, and it has the ingredients because obviously it needs to do that by law. So first impressions of the box before we open the first door and get making, I'll just tell you a bit about what I think. First of all, this calendar was £25, which is just over $30 American and just over $40 Canadian. Sort of average value. We'll see if we get value for money out of it. Looking at the ingredients list on the back, there's a few things that jump out at me, so I'll go through them. So the first thing I notice is actually there's some quite nice ingredients listed on the box. If I was looking at these and it was a brand name cream, I'd think, okay, there's some quite nice ingredients in there. I have noticed a lot of influencers will do these calendars, whether they be the cheap ones or the expensive ones, and they'll look at the ingredients and they'll just say it's awful because they don't recognise any of the names, or it said it's got something on the front of the box and then it doesn't have it in the ingredients. A lot of the time it's because what they're seeing is the common name, and then on the back on the ingredients list is the INCI name. The INCI name is the international recognised name for that ingredient, so they won't match essentially. So the best thing to do is, if you don't know what an ingredient is, don't be scared of it and decide that it's bad. Just go and look it up on Google, find out what it does, because I can tell looking at this that half the influencers on the internet would have a panic attack, but actually a lot of these things are lovely extracts and all sorts. So far so good. The second thing I've seen other people mention is the fact that some of the nice ingredients are low down, meaning that there's not very much of them in the product. Now this doesn't mean that it's bad, because a lot of good ingredients work at very, very low percentage rate. So even if you've got less than 1% in there, that doesn't mean it won't be effective. And some ingredients are very effective or have a maximum usage rate of well under that. So don't judge by where it comes in the ingredients list. It could still be doing a great job. So one of the products in here I noticed includes tallow. I won't be trying that. I'll be smelling it, but I'm not going to be trying it because for personal reasons, because I'm a vegetarian, I don't like tallow. I won't go near tallow, but I will smell and sort of look at the texture of it. It also includes egg oil. I'll put a description of what Google told me this was up on the screen. I have never heard of egg oil before in my life, so that's quite interesting. But that's in the tallow one, so I won't be trying it, unfortunately. But yeah, apparently that's a thing. One concerning thing I've noticed is that a few of the products contain water. We're going to get some lotions and things, I suspect, and they don't seem to include a preservative. They include an antioxidant, but no preservative. Now, I'm not a qualified cosmetic chemist. I probably know a lot less than the people that are formulating these calendars, you'd hope. So it could be that it's absolutely fine. But to my untrained sort of self-taught eye, I don't see what's preserving some of these things, which makes me wonder a little bit. So I may actually do stability on these going forward and test a few with my dip slides just out of interest. We can perhaps do that at the end. Then I noticed that the fragrances are listed as fragrance and not parfum, which isn't a massive issue, but here in the UK they'd need to be parfum, and there's no allergens at all listed. That may mean that everything's in a low enough usage rate that no allergens are triggered, but I can't be sure of that. So I'll be interested to see if there's an ingredients list on the actual packaging when I open up the doors of the calendar. Another good thing about it is, although there appears there's lots of kind of similar product, often with these calendars it will be the same formulation and then just renamed with different fragrances. It looks like they're very much different formulations, and they have some very nice stuff in them, supposedly. So I am quite excited to look at this calendar. Today we're going to open day one, and then we're going to have a go at making our own version of whatever's inside. That doesn't mean I'm going to be following their recipe. It just means that if it's a body lotion, I will make a body lotion and just kind of make it better, or make my own version, and we'll see what things are like. So let's go ahead and open door one. Door number one. First thing we have is a hand cream. So this one's all right. I can try this one. There's no tallow in this. The ingredients list on the back is quite interesting. It's pretty similar to the back of the box. There's also only the Chinese manufacturer details on here, although the EU and the UK responsible person details are on the back of the box, so I guess that's all right. It's a bit weird that it says other trace components and then lists some more ingredients. That's a weird way of doing it. I wouldn't say that's compliant over here. Yeah, the lid wasn't on very securely, but it does have a foil tab on the end, so we'll give it a try. A weird star nozzle, it's like toothpaste, and then I'm just going to do a tiny bit. So there's that. It really doesn't smell of much, to be honest, and it goes on quite nice. It feels quite nice. It smells a bit stronger now, but kind of smells just like generic hand cream, you know, like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like chemically rather than fragranced, possibly a tiny bit floral, but the fact it's called Merry Christmas Reindeer hand cream, does it smell of reindeers? I don't know, but there you go. That is door one. We are now going to, I guess, make a hand cream and see if we can make something we like a bit better. Okay, so today we are making a skin conditioning cherry blossom hand cream, and we're starting with glycerin, and to that we're adding distilled water, and then we're going to mix that around a bit. The formula for this will be on Patreon in basic format for now, and then in January I'm going to do a full ebook of all of the Vlogmas formulas, so you can wait for that. Now we're going to start on the oil phase. The beaker is cloudy because I already did this and forgot to press record as usual, so we're doing it again after I wiped it out. This is Olus oil. It's extremely moisturising, softening, smoothing, and it creates a protective barrier on the skin to prevent water loss. Then this is BTMS 50, a cationic emulsifier, so it's lovely and conditioning. It'll make your skin feel lovely and soft. Then I have jojoba esters, and this is moisturising, conditioning, locks in moisture, and it also slightly exfoliates, though you'd never realise it. And it works best with glycerin. I also added some macadamia oil, which is an emollient and skin conditioning that you didn't see, and cetyl alcohol to stabilise and thicken the lotion. Weigh the water phase, including the beaker weight, and then put both phases in a water bath and heat until phase B is melted and both are around the same temperature. Then weigh and replace any water lost to evaporation. Pour the water phase into the oil phase, and then we need to stick blend. Try not to move the stick blender around too much, just keep doing it until it reaches emulsion. This will be fairly thin to start with, and it will need to cool down before you can add your cool down phase. The idea behind this lotion is to be nice and skin conditioning, softening, just make it feel really, really nice, unlike the lotion that we got in the calendar. So take the temperature. Once it's under 40, you can add your cool down ingredients. And for those, I've got cherry blossom fragrance oil, which makes this a little bit more exciting than what's in the calendar. And then preservative eco, which is a natural EcoCert preservative, and then some vitamin E. Note that the preservative will have a slight smell of almonds, but it doesn't come through too much. And then we will pH test, but I have a whole video on pH testing, so I'm not going to go over that again. I'm going to use a little piping bag to get this into the containers because I feel like this is going to be the easiest way to do it. The containers I just got off Amazon and they look like this. And then I was upset to find that the nozzle at the end is tiny, much like the ones in the calendar. So filling this up was extremely difficult, and I have edited out the mess because this took me a while and it was very messy. But hopefully you'll like this formula. I tried to bring the joy back a little bit with this formula, so it's more interesting than the one in the calendar and it definitely smells better. So let's get it filled and labelled and then we can test it. This is what it looks like. And then I've made little Vlogmas labels. This is compared to the calendar one, which looks like a tube of paint. And then this is my one with a little Vlogmas label. I just did this with a colour laser printer and some clear labels, and I designed it in Canva. It took 2 seconds. It goes on really nice. It feels a lot better than the other one, and it also smells a lot better. So like I said, if you want the formula, it's on Patreon, and I'll see you tomorrow for day number 2.